So this is completely new project, you can say. So first thing that I need to do is make a HTML file, and it's when we write doc, we get a default boilerplate of HTML, and I can name this. Okay, first of all, I will open it in live server. Yeah. So I will name it to-do list, and also I will add a style sheet as well if we want to add any CSS. And I will make a CSS as well, styles.css. So those who like the people who have joined just right now, like I'm making a to-do list. Like in the previous class, we did the DOM manipulation. Now we are going to do a like make a small to-do list with using that. Okay, so first thing that I want to add here is uh, let's add a heading which says to-do list. And after the heading, the next thing that should come up here is basically a input where we will input our text, and after that there should be a add button. So I am actually making it um, in a separate div. So inside this div, there is an input, and the type will be text, and I will keep a placeholder here. Let's say enter new task. Yeah, like. And after the input, I want to keep a button which says add. So add button is also there. Now actually I want to make a class for them so that I can have access these elements in my JavaScript. So I can make a ID or class. Right now I'm preferring ID. So I'm writing here to do input, and when I for the buttons I'm writing here add button. Let's see what we get. Yeah. So one thing that you should notice that when we will let's say write something, and when I click on add, there will be a list that should be created after that, which keeps on adding like here. After this part, there should be a list that should be there. As we have already covered unordered list and ordered list. Right now I'll be going with unordered list, and I can keep right here to-do list. Okay, so you can see this list is currently empty. Like here we have not written any list items. So list items we will add in our JavaScript. So currently our list is empty. Okay, so right now that's why you are not able to see anything because the list is empty. So I think this is the basic structure of our HTML document, and now I will add a JavaScript file as well. I will link it. Please mute yourself, Kirti, and give the source, which is script.javascript, and I will add a new file here. Wait a minute. Okay. So our JavaScript file is linked and our HTML document is ready. Now we have to work on our logical part. So first thing that you can see is like what are the things that are clickable and the thing that I want to access. Okay, so first thing that is clickable is this add button. Whenever we write something, this add button should be clicked and that text should be come in a form of list here. And also the next thing that we should have an access is the text that we are writing inside this input. Currently, let's get the access to both of this elements. So I will write here to do input document dot. So right now I have made here ID. So that's why I'm writing get element by ID. So I will access this element using the ID, and also the name of the ID is to do input. So I can directly copy it. This is how I will have an access to this input. And the next thing that I want to have an access is, I said, which is the add button. A similar thing that I will do here is document dot get element by ID, and here we have given an ID which is add button. Okay, so we have an access to both of these. So next thing that I want to do is I want to add a event listener to my input. So first thing is to add a task. So so there are many event listener like click and mouse click and key press. So one of them is key press. You can see key down, key up, key press. So when the key is pressed, so I want to like enter the task right there. So after that, there is a callback function, and you can name it anything. So I will name it the event. So if event, so dot key, what it does is it will actually tell us that which key is pressed. Okay, so if I want to, if I press on enter, then I want to know that the enter key is pressed. And what's the thing that I want to do is, like when the enter key is pressed, then the add button is clicked. So click is also a function which is used to make the behavior of the add button. So it is basically clicked when we press on enter. So this is the basic thing that we have done right now. And the main thing that I need to do here is adding a new task. Let's say adding a new task. So how is the task added? So when we click on add button, uh, okay, so writing here the event which is click. So when we click on add button, then a function should run. What that function does is, first of all, I need to get the value of this input. For example, let's say first task. And when I click on this add button, first of all, I need to get the value, right? So how to get the value? I can write here. So where is this value located? You can see this value is inside the input, right? And how we are accessing our input is this line, like to do input, get element by ID. So by this we accessed our input. So what I will do is to do input and dot value. So dot value is a like using dot value, we will actually get the value inside our input. So dot value will get us the value which is first task. And after that, there is one case. For example, if this input is empty, then if I click on add, then it should not create any task here because the task list is empty. So that's why I will write a function here trim. So trim function, what it does is it removes all the white spaces from the beginning and from the end. So right now, if the list is or the task list is empty, we can see the trim value will give nothing, which means that the task is basically an empty string. So we will run a if condition that if task is not equal to empty, which means that something is written, right? If task is not empty, which means that something is written in our input. And if something is written in our input, what I want to do is I want to add, like I want to make a function which will add that in my list. Let's say call a function which adds task in task list, or let's say to-do list. So we have to call a function. So to call a function, first of all, we have to create a function. Okay, so let's create a add to do item function. Yeah, add to do item. And in add to do item, I want to pass the value of this input. For example, I want to pass this value first. So when I call the function, let's say add to item, I will pass the value of task, which is first right here. So that value will be passed, and similarly we can access it in the function as well. And okay, so let's understand this thing. Hmm, where is that? Okay, let me access that whiteboard. Where is that whiteboard? So are you able to see the whiteboard, right? Yeah, yes. Yeah, so what I want, yeah, actually others are also able. Okay, so let me complete this. So what I want to do is when I click on add button, then I want to create a list. Let's say this kind of list. What is this called? Actually, in terms of HTML is list item, right? So this kind of tag is there, and there should be some text, which is the task, and here will be the delete button. Okay, so what I said, when I click on add, then first of all there should be some list item should be made, and after that we will add the task and the delete button. So how we can make the list item? So I am naming it li. So there is a method which is document dot create element, which help us to create HTML element. So which HTML element I want to create is list item. So with this, a list item is created, and after that, what I want to do is I want to create a text also. Let's say task text document dot create element, and since it's the part of the list, I am using the span tag. Okay, so the task text is created. Now I want to add the value of this. So how, like we did in last class, how we used to do it? The task test dot text content, and we will set the constant to the task, which is this. So with this, the value of this will set up to our newly created, uh, let's say HTML element, which is span. So that value will become the value of task will be coming in the text content of text task. So the next thing that okay, I will write a comment here. Let's say task text, and right here I can write delete button. List item. So three things we right now two things we have created. Now we will create the next thing which is delete button. Document dot create element. And after that button is the I will use button tag for it. And what the text I want to display for my button is I will set the text content to delete. So this will actually create a button with the you can say the text will be written delete. Okay, the button is created. And now the next thing that we have to do is we have to create a to-do list as well because we are not storing like anywhere. What I want to tell is yeah this. So this is a to-do list. So we are actually appending like we are actually adding our list items inside this, right? Like UL is unordered list is there. So by this way, we are adding list items inside this. So that's why we have to access this as well. So I will write here to-do list. What is the name of the ID? This to-do list. So inside this only we will add our elements, which is the list item. Okay, now we have an access to this. And the next thing that I wanted to do is, first of all, you can see the list item task, like task text and delete button are separately right now. But what I want to do is, this task text and delete button are the part of list item, which means they are inside it. So what I want to do is I want to append. So there is a method in JavaScript which is append child. So this will add our task text, and after that also I want to append this. What was append child? I want to append the delete button as. So this will basically create a list item, and inside the list item there will be two things, which is task text and delete button. And the task text will be have the text of the task. Delete button will have the delete. And the next thing I want to do is I want to do like append this list item inside this unordered list. So how we can do this? So we access that unordered list using this to-do list class. So we will actually add our to-do list dot append child. Now we will add this list item, this one, which is created. Now if I try to save it and run it again, let's suppose I write first task. Let's see if it works or not. Okay, so you can see it is working fine. If I write here second task, so it is working fine. But you can see right now, what I want to do is when I click on this, this should become empty when I click on add. So how you can do that? When we call this function, we can make the value of that to empty string. So to do input dot value will become empty string. Now let's try again. You can see the value of input is becoming empty right here. Okay, so we are successfully able to add, but delete button is not working. Now we will see how to make this work. I will write here appending task text and button to list item or li to my to-do list. Okay, I'm coming in 1 minute. Only one thing is left in this, which is delete. After that, I think this is over. Just 1 minute. Yeah, so we are left with the deletion part. So for deletion, what we will do is we will actually make a event listener as well. Delete button dot add event listener. And when we click on it, There will be a callback function which runs. And what I want to do is I want to remove this. Let's say here I added the child, but in delete button I have to remove the child. So there is another method in JavaScript which is remove child. So from my to-do list, we have to remove the child. And this li I want to remove, which I created earlier. Let's see if it works. Okay, so you can see it is working. So it is simple. We just use this line to remove the list item. Yeah. And also one thing, currently we have added the logic and the HTML, like we have created the new, can say the new HTML tags inside it, but we can also add the CSS to it. For example, I want to make this look a bit different, which I created. So let's see how we can do it. So let's suppose I want to create a, let's say, to-do item. Yeah, so I want to add a class to it. So what I can do right here is, first of all, I have to, you can say, create a different kind of stylization, which I can write here. Let's say inside this, it is called, we can name it as to do item. And let's suppose we can give it a background color or something. Okay, so we created a small class right here, we created a stylization. So if I want to add that style to my list item, so we can write here like this also. List item like li dot class name, and we can actually add the name of that styling class, which is the to do item. Now this stylization will be added to this list item. Let's see if we are getting it. Also, you can see it is becoming like of different color because we have stylized it. If I want to add some margin as well, you can see a margin is also created. So you can also add the classes as well. And here we already learned how to make the new HTML elements and delete and make changes in that. So this was about this session. So you can try to add your own style and make it look better. Right now it's not looking that good, but it is functional. So you can make it look better. And in the next class, I think we will start with React. So next class, yeah, is on Wednesday. So we will start with React, and I will share this code in the GitHub repository. Or okay, it was a new project, so I can share it in the form of, let's say, text format. Okay, so we will. So Shashi Pratap Singh. Okay, attendance sheet. Okay, now I have clicked the screenshot of this. Like from next class onward, we can start with the attendance system or something. But if anyone asks from me, I have